let's do a little NFL draft preview. We've got the first editions of everybody's mock drafts coming out, and now that the college football season is over, it's never too early to look ahead to April. So let's use Mel Kiper. He's widely regarded as the premier draft big board prospect purveyor, if you will. And I'm just going to read the top 10, and we'll start getting into the angles here. No surprise. It feels like a lock. Fernando Mendoza is going number 1 to the Raiders. Number 2, Kuiper's got Arvell Reese, the linebacker, turned into an edge rusher this year at Ohio State, going 2 to the Jets. He's got the Cardinals taking a lineman, tackle Francis Mauigoa from Miami. He was a mauler this year for the Hurricanes, protected Carson Beck. Titans, number 4, new head coach Robert Saleh, and he thinks David Bailey, who had, I think it was 15 sacks this year for Texas Tech, edge rusher, going number 4. He's got the Giants going receiver again here. Carnell Tate, receiver from Ohio State, at number 5. Browns are going with an offensive lineman, with that offensive line with a ton of injuries last year, and all of a sudden what once was a stout unit is shaky. Spencer Fano, offensive tackle from Utah. He's got the Commanders going with another Hurricane in the top 10, Ruben Bain, the Fire Rises, who had a hell of a game in the College Football National Championship. He's got him going 7 to the Commanders. Jordan Tyson, the big, very reliable receiver from Arizona State, going number 8 to the Saints. Chiefs going with your favorite pick maybe of the draft, Brad, Jeremiah Love, my guy from Notre Dame, the running back at 9. And then to finish off the top 10, the Swiss Army knife of college football, Caleb Downs, the safety, kind of a Kyle Hamilton prototype from Ohio State, going to Cincinnati. So let's start with the one that everybody, even the water cooler folks that don't watch a lot of football, will love to talk about. Only one quarterback in the first round, according to Kuiper's latest mock. Does that fit according to you? Do you think that changes, considering the Jets and the Cardinals are in serious need of QB?
Yeah, it's not the sexiest draft class. Let's just admit it. And with Dante Moore going back to Oregon, that removes him from the equation overall. You know, there's always guys that are risers. Once they go through the interview process, the combine, and we'll see how many actually participate in all the pertinent drills, but got the pro days as well. So we got a lot of assessment time to, poke and prod and slice and dice every single one of these prospects. So I think there's going to be a diamond in the rough. It's going to become trendy at some point. Who that is, I don't know, but it happens every year. Everybody, hitches a ride with both cheeks firmly planted on that bandwagon, and you see the stock tick, 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 rise up and up and up. So, again, anyone's best guess who that prospect is going to be. But I think we're probably going to have more than 1 or 2 quarterbacks taken in round 1. BetMGM is going to have a whole host of NFL draft props that are going to be available. And I'm guessing the line's going to be over under 2.5 quarterbacks taken in round 1. I know what the juice is going to be. Regardless, I'm taking the over.
Yeah, Mendoza's a lock. I mean, that's for sure. Lock for number 1 overall, let alone lock for the first round. Now, you got Ty Simpson from Alabama, who the last time we saw him didn't have a great game against Oregon, against Indiana, but had a pretty damn good regular season considering Bama couldn't run the football. You got Garrett Nussmeier from LSU. You got Carson Beck, who may have, helped his prospects significantly. Yeah, in the college football playoff. Cade Klubnik, Diego Pavia, one that I could see rising, shooting, skyrocketing up the draft board now that he got denied a 6th year in college, Trinidad Chambliss. I think he showed a ton of talent and promise in that game against Georgia and in the game against Miami. If there's somebody out of those other guys that could jump up the board, I think it could be Trinidad Chambliss. Honestly, I think he could be this past year's Jackson Dart, and somebody that all of a sudden we're thinking, 2nd round, maybe 3rd round, then bang, a trade at the end of the 1st round to go back and get him.
And I also see Carson Beck being a guy there in the latter half of round 1. It's going to be weighed heavily in a lot of GM and front office rooms. I mean, I agree with you, man. I think he played exceptional football for the most part during the college football playoff run for the Miami Hurricanes. And you look at the advanced metrics, he was tied with Fernando Mendoza at adjusted completion percentage on the year at number 8 overall. Obviously, he's got some mobility. He's got the size. Still a relatively young quarterback. I think he's like 23, 24 years old. So again, he'll go through the interview process. If he can impress there, he can make just about every throw that's out there. And again, with that pocket shiftability, that mobility, and playing on a big and bright, the brightest and biggest of stages, and playing pretty well, I think his stock is certainly ascending. So I could see Beck also being alongside Chambliss. And I agree with your point of view as guys that are certainly going to be entertained, probably in that 20 to 32 range.
Okay, outside of the quarterback, do you think there's any other rookie here, any of these other projected top 10 picks that could immediately alter the near-term future and the long-term future of the team that picks them? I guess in, maybe some other words here. Outside of Fernando Mendoza, who do you think is the biggest star in this draft?
Jeremiah Love, as I've already mentioned, man. A guy that just gets appreciable yards after initial contact. He's got the shimmy and the shake. He's a missed tackle machine. He can catch the ball cleanly out of the backfield. Of course, everybody's got to wonder about his pass protection skills, as is the case with every single first-year running back. But, he's dynamite, man. Breakaway speed. He's a guy that in the right situation, and my God, you want to talk about the mother of all situations. If he lands with Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes, he's going to be seeing nothing but exploitable fronts. A lot of probably lighter boxes, 6-man fronts as a result, and he is going to tear that up. I know there may be some offensive line concerns overall for Kansas City, but Jeremiah Love, I think would be an instant impact player that would add probably good 2 to 3 wins to Kansas City and their profile in the upcoming NFL season. I hope he lands there. I'm not exactly a Chiefs homer. I'm a diehard Chicago Bears fan. But again, thinking from a fantasy football perspective, as I always do, thinking about dynasty, thinking about the statistical upside, thinking about some of those futures markets at BetMGM. Check, and check again. That box is going to be illuminated with the love for Jeremiah Love.
Yeah, and look, as a Notre Dame guy, I'm jumping right on that bandwagon with you. I've seen him just run people over, get out of tackles that seemed impossible to get out of, the breakaway speed, just about everything. That the ball security, he's the full package. It just comes down to, we have this conversation every year. Ashton Genty, Lenny Fournette, Saquon Barkley. Are you a team that is a running back away from being a Super Bowl contender or even a playoff team? Most of the time, that answer has been no. With the Kansas City Chiefs, that answer is obviously yes, especially if they can bounce back next year. We know that they've got the quarterback to do it without a doubt. For me, I cannot. It's Jeremiah Love, but I'll give you a different answer. I've fallen in love with Caleb Downs here over the last 12 months, watching him at the tail end of last season when Ohio State won the Natty, and then what he did all this year, where everybody knew he's the most dangerous guy on the field on defense, try to avoid him at all costs. Like I said, he's a Kyle Hamilton prototype. He can come down the line of scrimmage and stop the run. He can cover one-on-one. He can cover over the top as that traditional safety position would have you play. But that's what Kyle Hamilton did at Notre Dame, and it transformed immediately. It transitioned immediately into what he did with the Baltimore Ravens, and he's largely considered the best safety in football now. I think Caleb Downs can follow right in those footsteps. He finished 9th in the Heisman voting. I didn't even realize that. Him and Jacob Rodriguez, the linebacker from Texas Tech, the only 2 defensive players to finish in the top 10 of the voting. I had 2 picks in each of the last 3 seasons. I had how many forced fumbles here? I just had, 2 forced fumbles this year, back-to-back All-American. The guy makes every tackle. The guy can cover. I think he is immediately a star in the NFL. And if Kiper's right and the Bengals take him at 10, look, that defense is not one piece away from being respectable, but he will absolutely do a ton in terms of helping them fill out the rest of what was an atrocious unit this last year.
Now, speaking of defense, I think that would be a killer pick for Cincinnati. Pat, I'm going to seize the reins from me here because you're a Giants guy. And, you had a huge acquisition, of course, of John Harbaugh, going to be calling the shots there in Jersey. What direction do you want to go? Now, Kiper's got Carnell Tate. Kind of surprised by that, but I don't hate it. Obviously, adding another weapon, having Malik Neighbors come back, got Wan'Dale Robinson there, Theo Johnson, who you love and adore, to pair there with Jackson Dart, who could absolutely sling it and be a top 10 fantasy football sensation this year. But again, being the Giants, diehard fan that you are, do you want defense or offense? I think they need all the help they can get on the defensive side of things. And if Caleb Downs were there at 5 overall, certainly they would entertain his services, right?
Yeah. I mean, I said it. I was on with Chris Mack today, who was filling in for our guy Costos, and he said, "Where do you think the Giants should go in the draft?" And I said exactly that. I would jump at Caleb Downs. I don't care at what Mel Kiper, no offense, no disrespect, or what anybody else projects where Caleb Downs should go, because a safety, there's only been one other safety taken in the top 20 in the last 10 years. That was Jamal Adams. I don't care. The guy isn't your traditional safety. Let Kyle Hamilton be that example. That's what the Giants need. They need a just pure dog, a pure defender, and they need a star on defense no matter what the position is. And that's what Caleb Downs offers you. So, yeah, I would take him at number 5. I don't think the Giants need another receiver. I don't think Jackson Dart needs Jackson Dart needs as much help as he can get. No, he doesn't. He didn't have Malik Neighbors all season long, and he still put up 22 touchdowns in 11 games. Yep. He's got Theo Johnson, like you mentioned. And he's got Scadaboo coming back and Tyrone Tracy. He's got 2 running backs. Like, enough. It's not like, he's got a bare cupboard. The Giants defense was an embarrassment this year. They couldn't stop anybody. 5 double-digit blown leads on the road. They basically broke an NFL record because they couldn't stop anybody. That secondary was so terrible. It's full of wasted draft picks, including Tay Banks. So the pass rush is actually the one area where they have some promise. I mean, if Abdul Carter can stop falling asleep in team meetings and live up to his hype, he had a good end of the year. They got Brian Burns. And so the other 2 defensive players projected in the top 10 is Reuben Bain and David Bailey, 2 edge rushers. I don't necessarily think the Giants need that. I would just say, screw it. Take Caleb Downs at 5. If you think he's going to be an all-pro, then you take him there. So that was the one disagreement I had, or one of the biggest disagreement I had, is that Mel Kiper thinks the Giants are going to continue to give Jackson Dart more help and get Carnell Tate. No, I'd rather just re-sign Wan'Dale Robinson, who was awesome for them this past season, especially down the stretch once Neighbors got hurt, rather than go draft another receiver when defense is clearly the number 1 need. Your biggest agreement or your biggest disagreement with Kiper's top 10 mock?
Yeah, I look at the team that's picking ahead of your New York Football Giants and the Tennessee Titans. I understand that defense may be on the mind of that, new administration and the coaching staff, but my God, they need wide receiver help. That's where Carnell Tate should land. I mean, you're number 1 right now. Who is it? Maybe Calvin Ridley if he comes back. Chimbere DK? Alec Aomanor? Like, give me a break. They need help on offense. Cam Ward needs weapons. They have to go Carnell Tate. And number 4 overall, if he is there, and if he somehow, goes in the top 3, and I don't think that will be the case, then you got to debate whether or not Jordan Tyson can be that guy. So that's the one gripe, and the biggest gripe that I really have with the mock. And this is going to be terribly wrong. He's probably going to be batting maybe at best like 30%, like most of the mock drafters that are out there. But I think Tate to the Titans is pretty close to the L word or the G word as humanly possible if, and I say that if, he is available at number 4 overall.